Well, ladies and gentlemen, you're just about to end the Soul American, remember that? And Philip Maurice. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for taking your seats. Actually, you're not really taking them; you're just putting them where they belong because you already have them being taken. Oh, you want to do this? You want to do this really quickly because that way I can blabricate. So there's going to be an announcement here in just a moment. Tommy, take the mic. There you go.
Okay. Okay. Our feature tonight mentioned.
Hear ye.
Silencio.
Begunda.
Stop the feet.
Hey, bada bing, bada boom.
That's Southern Italian for shut the fuck up.
What?
Not the Z.
Okay. Ooh. Stacco fisto, bacala. Never mind.
Okay, enough of the dirty Italian. Our feature mentioned the 40th anniversary of rent control, which is tomorrow. Tomorrow's the 40th anniversary of when they passed rent control in San Francisco. There's going to be a special reading with poetry, music, and all kinds of fun on Saturday.
Can you pass
pick
it
up
that
a
way?
flyer up. Oh,
We're distributing the flyers now because that way you won't have to remember them.
And I'm going to be one of the featured poets, blah, 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 blah. And then this is Tell It on Tuesdays, which is at the Marsh in Berkeley, their schedule. And I am performing on June 25th my one-person show about...
Starring Tommy.
starring some drag queen that I used to be back in the 70s. So it's my adventures as...
These will be passed around also.
Queen. Anyway, it's called The Old Brown Jacket, and it's at the Marsh in June.
And he had an old brown jacket.
All
right. Thank you so much. Give him a round of applause. Now, the flyers are being passed around. If you don't get one, see Tommy, see me, see yourself, and CC for any CC writer. That's what I should say. Never mind. All right. So, and now the Sanderell is going to kick off the second show, as we like to call it, because it is the second show, with David Erdreich tootling along as his wont.
I'd like to make an announcement on June 22nd at 7 to 8:30 at Adobe Books. Greer Rockette, Louis Romero, and I will be performing as the GLR Trio.
What does GLR stand for?
It stands for Greer, Louis, and Richard. Couldn't come up with anything better, so what the hell.
That's a good one.
All right, although they got it advertised as the GRR because Louis couldn't make it once and they never.
Long story.
All right, well, thank you for listening.
All right.
All right. First one's going to be called Waiting for the Miracle Incarnate. I sit waiting for that miracle incarnate as worlds collide, break apart, melt. I sit sweating in 100+ degrees, staying hydrated, waiting for that miracle incarnate to cool, heal as sweat pours from our bodies. I sit waiting, watching birds using feathers to splash water over heated bodies. Dogs pant as fast as they can. What it must be like for foxes, coyotes, wolves all over, flora, fauna. I sit waiting for the miracle incarnate to rescind the primal forces about to be unleashed on all. I sit waiting, but I see no miracle incarnate, because the miracle incarnate I'm waiting for is dying before us. Bring on the elders, ancestors. Bring on ancestors, those we call ghost spirits who refuse to remain quiet. Danger has awakened them. You prod them from graves, build over them with no respect, lie about who they are, what they did, living lies about some ancestors refusing to tell their truths. Doing so tells the truth of lies we tell about those we murder, genocide, making them wrong, therefore the enemy justifying. Bring on the elders, those who still remember, where younger generations blames everything on the previous generation, knowing nothing about them. Why would they? They seldom talk with elders. Internet tells them everything, so they believe. Though saying this about the net, Elder recently heard from one young cashier chastises Elder for asking for plastic bags. Cashier says perhaps she should have brought her own bags. It's the elder generation that got us into this mess. Elder sets those after her straight about us. Her name is Dorothy, stating when they used paper bags, they covered their school books with brown paper. When buying milk, soda, the bottles were washed, recycled back. They walked upstairs, no elevators, walked to school, to the store, 2 blocks away instead of driving. They hung up their clothes on clotheslines so as not to use all that energy on dry. Kitchens, they had hand-blended food, not energy-eating appliances to do it for them. When it came time to mow the lawn, they used a push mower instead of gas-eating lawnmowers. People used to take public transit instead of everyone driving one person to a car, polluting beyond what the earth can handle. Diapers were cotton and washable, not disposable for our dumps. But then there was only the electrical outlets. Back then there was only one electrical outlet, not a bank of outlets of appliances, devices. Instead of cell phones with satellites to help you find the nearest burger joint. But then again, they didn't have this green thing. This green thing is a mockery today. We think by saving plastic bags, bottles, we're so great and green, when back then they didn't have plastic bottles, bags. Elders just set you straight by telling you the truth and the lie of today. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sorry for mangling. Mr. Man behind me.
Richard and David, thank you. Now, I believe we have the next person is also new, Gustavo. Okay, give her a you guys new already. You gotta get really close.
Really close.
Yeah, really close, and then
there you go.
And wait a minute. Let me change the channel here. Okay, there we go.
Good.
Okay. Thank you for welcoming me to this space. These are I have 3 poems. They're kind of sad to depressing, so I'm sorry for that. But here we go. All right. So, Home of Becoming. I remind myself that my legs are countries, the way borders are the hemlines of worn jeans. How do you say goodbye to backyard pomegranates? They demand remittances like body parts, lips and arms and cheeks to be kissed by monarch butterflies. I rip off the barbed wire across my spine, protection for the casa triste that lives on my temple. How do you greet America? Like a lost lover torn from you by time or lust or hate? Like a child not at peace with self? I become the orchard and the railroad. I raise the children, bury the dead. I make myself a home. I build connection like water creates caverns, writing names on stone walls.
Yeah.
This one's called Bond. Once you broke my earth open, brought down my constellations with a slingshot, planted seeds in the nape of my neck, poured spirit down my throat. With you I sing new stars into being. I nourish saplings into forests spanning my back. I drink of you like a communion. With me, you let your fire burn incandescent. You blast dams, leaving nascent waterfalls in your wake. You remember you are enough. Once, you rip me open. You make me roll up my skin, scars and all, like the poster for a movie you would never watch. You make me leave myself behind, like a carcass scavenged clean by your need of me. Do you love me enough not to kill me? Is that your way of letting go? I tear you to shreds once, maybe twice or 3 times. I watched you through the prism of my own cuts. Resist the urge to collect your ribbons and make you whole again. I tell you your smile is the cruelest of promises. I berate you with my silence. But once I speak, I mend us. Or maybe you do the mending this time. We make thread out of our specters. We stitch with our fingertips, running them over our lips and hearts and harms. We end on a different line of this poem. And then this one's titled The Not Knowing Tears. It's with regards, epigraph, 7-year-old Guatemalan girl who died in Border Patrol custody as identified. Each day I open class with a morning circle. 19, 7, and 8-year-olds sit on a colorful rug, talk about their favorite color, ideal superpowers, how they feel or who they will be when they grow up. I tell them I wish I could teleport, cross walls without a second thought, be one blink away from my family. At recess, I read about a 7-year-old girl who died in Border Patrol custody after navigating the New Mexican desert. Her name is Jacqueline Gal Maquin. I begin to wonder, did she make walking through the desert a game? Count the number of cacti, make messages with stone in the sand. I wonder if she went to school. Did she have to leave midway through the year to work picking strawberries or donkey dung to sell like my father? I imagine my classroom with 20 students. Would she color in desert sunrises? Or would the deep sunset reds and oranges be her inspiration? I wonder if she knew where she was going. What was America to her? I wonder if she spoke Quiche or English or Spanish or Mom. What would she write about? One of my students wrote, another word for ordinary is God. I prep the math do now on the whiteboard. My students are learning multiplication. I wonder if she knew her times tables. What is 15,000 children times 2 parents in a different detention facility? My students know that any number of bottles of water times Border Patrol boots equals 0. Did she know the definition of terror? Or did she call it fear? The not knowing tears. I wonder, I wonder, I wonder who she was and who she would have become.
Thank you so much. Beautiful. I like it when we have new people come here and they just kick it. All right, and now the marvelous, magical, wondrous, and amazing Sharon Scott Kish, whose time machine shall take us back to the thrilling days of yesteryear in Kansas City, of all places.
Well, go figure. People say that I didn't give up my seat because I was tired. But that isn't true. No, the only tired I was tired of giving in. Rosa Parks. And this is for my friend Tommy, because it's Pride Month. What a ball. Time was a man could only wear a dress on Halloween. No drag, no siree. The children, women, men, dogs, cats, all loved Gaylord. He was the best. He lived in the carriage house in one of the larger houses in the street. The houses were prized. They were on the alleys and no entering through the main building. The rent was always cheap. No one considered them a real home, although they were really great houses. Some were two-story, 2 and 3 bedrooms. Gaylord had really fixed his house up. Men of the neighborhood had replumbed it, painted, new roof, the works. The women helped with the decorating, curtains, rugs, wallpaper. When he was home, the children would stop by, and all they had to do was see that little half-Dutch door open on the alley and the smell and the aromas coming out. Wow, cakes, pies, cookies, something to start a stampede. Popcorn smell, that started us. That meant we would butter our hands and make a big team effort, popcorn balls. Not too much K-Roll light syrup, that is, too sticky. But don't forget and leave one in your pocket, trouble with Mom. We all knew Gaylord was different from the other men, but no one cared. He was part of our daily life. And now that sister of his, that was another story. She didn't come around much. Gaylord didn't really like her, and the neighbors hated her. She was gruff, rode a motorcycle, and Indian. We always tried to put sticks in the spokes when she came there. What we really hated was Gaylord was so sad when she left. Loud voices, her bossing him around. Who did she think she was? He worked so hard. He had a job in a men's store on the Country Club Plaza, shipping and receiving, and yes, he did the best window displays for the holidays especially. Gaylord had many friends, but the ones he were closest to were Mrs. Allen, a seamstress, May at the dime store, and my grandmother Eva. He loved the way she dressed. They would have tea and cakes and scour fashion magazines and home decorating magazines. He would seek her advice on many things, even on how to get along with his sister. Her advice was not to let her in his life. His mother was sorry the sister was such a bully. The father, almost deaf, missed out on all of the bickering, but the mother was well aware. His sister, Jamesetta, named after her father, we called her Jamie, worked at Pratt & Whitney as a mechanic. None of her co-workers had anything nice to say about her, and her neighbors even less. When she would visit, everyone would be alerted. Usually one of the kids would tell. Shortly after the announcement, someone would find an excuse to save Gaylord. Not to mention the kids keeping up a racket outside. As autumn approached each year, houses were stripped of summer and made ready for winter. Just as with the house, so were the pantries, the canning, the peaches, the beans, the corn, the tomatoes, jams and jellies. Those who had a big freezer chest were putting food back. Fish, beef, pork, sausages, venison, ducks. And an occasional widow would put her deceased husband in one. Autumn, winter clothes came out with trunks, attics, and backs of closets. But Halloween is coming, so that calls for special preparation. Most kids just went in their parents' closets or attics and basements and made up costumes. Most were very creative, to say the least. A trip around the area to friendly neighbors and then to someone's house for candy apples, homemade gingerbread, cider, red hots, candy corn, popcorn balls. Bobbing for apples. Ugh. Pin the tail on the donkey are some of the boys, their pastime, spin the bottle. Oh no. A few more board games than home. Tummies full, count the stash, and then go to bed. Adults, games, drinks, some music, little snacks. For Gaylord and his friends, the much anticipated costume ball, their only chance to dress up. At least 2 months of preparation. Fabric, lace, shoes, wigs, makeup, dressmakers, magazines, clippings. Gaylord and Eva would sit down for hours on end and plan his costume. Tasteful always. Get it right, Eva would say. Never let him stray from tastefulness. The right undergarments. Several visits to Mrs. Allen, and finally the costume would be complete. Fitted perfectly. Time for the big dance. Straight to the auditorium. No side trips. Don't want any trouble with the police. Many pictures to be taken before leaving the house. A few cocktails and off. Auditorium abuzz. Lights. crosses, cabs, arriving, police stations, people staying in the crosswalk, outside the police looking for any excuse to arrest. Bands in place, music blaring, some men looking for love, most just enjoying a time to be with friends and let hair down, or at least their wig. A few bumps in the road, a few arrests, minor spats, but all goes well. Lots of stories to tell the next day, a week later, photos to show, no mention of activities to co-workers, another fall holiday to put in photo albums, another year gone by.
Thank you. Then Scott Fish traveling. Taking us with it. The next one, it looks like K-A-T-I. Oh, Katie, right?
Yeah.
Okay, want to make sure I said it right. And she is new. This is her first time here, ladies and gentlemen. Sharing out the living. All right. You just got to get really close to it. Very, very.
Hi.
Hello.
Hello.
How are you today?
I'm good, thanks.
Well,
Thanks
good.
for having me.
Well, thank you for coming by.
I have 3 poems. I feel like I'm really in with the theme of cutthroat, so here we go. This first one is called What Really Happened to Jack, according to Rose. Jump on, you said. I was tired of floating, tied the rope from my sinking life raft around my waist, clung to your shoulders, waited. You swam in circles, filling my small boat, but we'll need this. I gave both of my shoes to make good on your trade. When you stopped swimming, I slung you over my good shoulder. The boat was too full to hold anything else. I made a few hundred miles south, but it was still storming. You broke your hand trying to show a small house who was boss. I stayed silent until my voice box threatened to jump ship, and when I finally opened my mouth, a wave of obscenities flowed out, knocked you down, and took out the town where we thought we could make a home. Finally, I ripped off my infected left arm and tried to save the body, saved the blue sapphire on my ring finger. With no shoulder to cling to, you let go. But without me, you had forgotten how to swim. I watched you thrash and kick while you sank. I screamed at the surface over your face. Instructions. Your ears were too full of salt and ice. I screamed louder, furious at being ignored. Then I noticed the hole where my arm used to be was turning the water around me red. One hand, I threw things out of my small boat. It was halfway underwater now. Kicking and gasping, I cursed myself for never learning how to swim. The second one is called Space Junk. Once, I heard someone say that everything that has ever happened is recorded in energy at the edges of the universe. I think he was a physicist, and so I believed him. I'm not sure how true it actually is, but I'd like to believe it because it feels plausibly hopeful. All an artist ever wanted was not to be erased, said Liz. I'd like to think that the arms of my atoms have stretched themselves awake and the ripple effect has grazed the knuckles on the edges of everything and written my name, left my skin cells on the walls of creation. I'd like to think that the wind from my breath moved clouds around the sky, even if just barely. I'd like to think I can inhale a wave from across the world. My footsteps submit the energy that the earth will react to equally and in opposition. My own tiny earthquake. I'd like to imagine the whispers off of my throat are a small symphony to something with eardrums shaped differently than mine. I would like to read the book written in my DNA on the edges of nothing, using the stars at night glowing like a light, soft white across the gleaming pages of my life. This last one is called Summer and a Bill from the Dentist. I've been holding on to the past so tight that it hurt my teeth. I'm breathing the carbonation in champagne, waiting to drown when it goes flat, until there are only carbon monoxide memories between my vertebrae floating in spinal liquid, edging their way towards nerves that are burning themselves numb. Ambulances squeak through the joint in my jawbone. Their wailing is hurting my ears. I tried to suck the loneliness off of your lips, and all I was left with was a mouthful of cavities. Tastes like someone used a tablespoon instead of a teaspoon of salt. The recipe was mismade. It's too hot, too long. This side is getting crispy. Lack of oxygen lulled me through the dense mist of past. Cloud-shaped memories, misty fantasies. Present is mortared all around me. Stumbles echo across dirt. Dust clogs my inhale. I'm staring at the fucking mail. Why won't the mailman forget my address? Streetlights are strewn through my hair like glitter, taste like asphalt and moonlight. Fur-lined winds wipe my cheek. The black cat night curls up next to me, falls asleep into what could have been. Ship horns purr into my chest. The bridges claw my rib cage, kneading the way that they do. Paws dipped in mustard blossoms. My heart beats to the rhythm of a robotic vacuum cleaner now. I can feel it beep in my cracked molars, and cat scratch broke my fevered dream. Thank you.
Well done. Julian. Okay. We got Julian, and up next, after him is Vincent, our mini feature, and Antoinette, Amy, Shem, Rob, Greg, Barrett, Ariella. Okay, so you're also new, correct?
Yes.
Oh, I guess a new here. Oh, right. And then we have David E. Hal and JJ and Sandarell and Morgan Freeman as he allows.
All right. Give it up one more time for Katie and all the new first-time readers.
First-time readers.
That's a lot. Okay, so I have two poems for you. One really short one, and then yeah.
Pick that. Oh, okay. Yeah, no, don't worry about this. I'll make it anonymous.
Just how I like it. All right. This first one's called Sometimes. Sometimes I still feel you. Thankfully, most of the time I don't. But still, sometimes. And now to retune. It's called Is This Scary? Have you ever felt like a ghost? Sorry. Have you ever roamed the streets in search of a home, or a place to sleep, or even a meal to eat? Is it scary for you? Have you ever felt like a ghost? Have you ever winced at the taste of your own blood, biting your own tongue so much? Trying to force a smile while listening to someone talk about those very same butterflies that they feel for someone else that you feel for them. Is it scary for you? Have you ever felt like a ghost? Have you ever peered from the peripherals as you watch the ones you thought were once your friends and family carry on with their lives so happily and easily without you in it, seemingly as if you never even existed? Is it scary for you? Have you ever felt like a ghost? I have. I still do. I still am. In fact, I bet you haven't even noticed that I've been standing right beside you this entire time, so I'll ask one final time, is it scary for you? 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 Is it scary for you, baby? Oh, is it scary for you? Is it scary for you, baby? I wanna know if you are scared just like me too. I wanna leave this room and do the things that love us do now. I wanna know if you are scared just like me too. I wanna leave this room and do the things that love us do now. I wanna know if you are scared just like me too. I wanna leave this room and do the things that love us do now. Oh, is it scary for you? Oh, is it scary for you? Oh, is it scary, scary, scary? Is it scary for you? Oh, is it scary for you? Oh, is it scary for you? Oh, is it scary? Am I scary? Is it scary for you? Is it scary for you? Oh, is it scary for you, baby?
Thank you. And Julian, soon to be smashed up by some record producing individual, will offer him something he can't possibly ignore. Ah, now, Vincent, our mini feature of the evening is coming up here now. We're going to
so
start
happy on Sunday. I didn't want to follow you.
This-
And now, be careful what you wish for.
Oh, this
Okay, I'm
gentleman.
starting over here with this poem, so
All right.
it's okay.
All right.
So, this is called The Echo of the Cursor. Imagining a group of loving artists and writers, that through alliteration, similes, and metaphors, we gather together with weighted words, and lift the spirits with laughter and hope. We translate our feelings, the affairs of the heart, lyrically with couplets that dance upon the page. To the structure and form of the stanzas beside a crescent moon. Underneath my canoe drifts down the stagnant river like a cursor. While I lift my voice inside the limestone cave. And like a freshly cut diamond, it penetrates into an echo. That is one way to get over stage fright. This one is called The Shape of You. It's dedicated to the crossing guard in my neighborhood. Olivia, I love you. The Shape of You. A February sun rises between a pair of sleepy sloping hills. And as the traffic lights change and the cars slow, the icy dew clinging to the blades of grass begins to thaw. Minute images of pink flowers can be seen reflected up close. Turning over, her knee touches a patch of cooled blanket left out from underneath the duvet. Her arm reaches underneath the feather pillow. Her hand grabs a fistful of sheets. Her body in its entirety rolls over for just one more minute as time drips of water fill her favorite coffee mug down the long, narrow hallway. The crossing guard stretches her forearm. A Dayglow orange flag directs a clamoring of white tennis shoes and broken English towards a classroom chalkboard powdered in 2 languages. The intersection becomes a compass, north in joyful banter and laughter, east for dreamers of borderless change. She walks across the glass-paned airport terminal, her mother's form reduced to painful ash. Memories long ago forgotten begin to bubble up as she steps into the western-bound plane. She smells white shoulders, her maternal's favorite. A droplet carves a path from her eyes, around her nostril, falling from her lip, staining the cobalt blue, gold trim urn gripped between her bent right arm and bosom. The items were tagged with jagged ripped off white masking tape, scribbled with a bloody felt tip, a value assigned to cigarette-stained particle board covered wood veneers, with a Chester board covered in tea-stained doilies, packed full of photographs that years of therapy will only crack 6 of a baker's dozen. A garage stack full of boxes, many outweighed when lifted, tearing away from handle to hidden corner, spilling out with so many rooms left to ponder and to understand the shape of you. And as she sits down in her seat and looks out towards a motherless world, a green-veined crepe hand reaches over, patting her gently. Perfect. Everyone said they loved my fiction last time. This is part of the same thing, part of my collection called Jails, Institutions, and Death. This is available online. This is a San Francisco story. It's called The Lookout. I was at the mouth of Balmy when I heard the 2 pops. The narrowed L-shaped alleyway with aging Victorians gobbled up the sound and swallowed it whole. I had let my dark black, now graying hair grow out, with months of a sorry ass for an excuse for a beard, which laid against my John Doe shirt. They had given it to me 17 hours ago, after I signed my contingent release paperwork. With a pair of boosted sunglasses from CVS, I hope I would blend. Every time I got out, it was important to reinvent, or at least look different than when I went in. Luckily, the blue in my hood had very short memories. When it came to street life, I was always half in or half out, but this time my left foot was in the street and the other on the sidewalk. I half turned and over my shoulder I could see the colorful murals. They were like Guerrilla Gallery, bright red, iridescent green, electric blue. One was a tribute to a slain trans woman, and one was called The Culture Contains the Seed of Resistance. Street artists had been responsible for making pretty in my hood since I was 19 or 20. I usually appreciated them most when I was rolling or had been tweaking for a few days, or at least their voice was heightened when I was down a nickel or dime bag of G or some Tina. I stepped back quickly. I hoped I wasn't seeing fuck. The only good witness was a very dead one. I told myself, you didn't see a thing, not one single thing. My only job was to delay anyone and everyone. Talking my way in was usually when I was high or needed to cop, but today was strictly shuck and jive. Oh, that coat is absolutely divine. Gucci? Or, hey man, don't we know each other from McAteer? I looked around the corner through a rusted rain pipe. There were 1, no 2, no 3. Within seconds, they were heading south down Clarendon and out of sight. I was just about to step out when one had run back and spit on him and exclaimed, "Mera con puto." He began laughing and then he too disappeared. After blood hits the streets, all those involved become ghosts. We called Benito from the old neighborhood Casper. That guy could disappear faster than anyone unless he got too jacked. In fact, too wired up is what got him snuffed. I walked 2 half steps into the alley toward the take and almost tripped. Wearing cowboy boots wasn't usually my thing, but when I stepped off the Quinton bus, there they were, lazily, tops flopped like dog ears, and a size 12 in black. I quickly abandoned my orange flip-flops I had traded for a pack of Marlboros. Within 10 feet, I spotted them, a pair of red and white Jordans mid-calf. I said, "Sweet!" His body was on its side, one to the head and one to the chest, a Norteño special. He was still bleeding out, and his oversized white t-shirt began to pattern an Atlanta Braves jersey. The upper shot had sprayed against the mural behind him, freckling Frida Kahlo. I tried not to look into his face, but he seemed strangely familiar. I knelt down and removed the first shoe. Nice socks too, Nike Stretch. I removed them too. Once he was barefoot, I began rooting his pockets, first the front, then the back. No wallet. I reached down into his waistband. Yep, I said. He was wearing a nut cup. As I unbelted him, I again looked at his deranged, silent face. Panchito? Nah, it couldn't be. He was still at Pelican Bay, or maybe Chino. My thought reshuffled as my temples jerked left to right. Let it go, I said to myself. I lifted the cup up, and with 2 fingers, I shoved his junk to the side. I flipped his billfold out, and 3 bindles innocently slid out. Dang, he was holding. I said, I pocketed them. Tonight would be a good time at the Kinney SRO, but I would definitely need some clean works for sure. I began to hear the wails, distant, maybe 3 to 4 minutes away. I never liked sirens. They usually made me freeze up. But when I flipped open the billfold, I stood up, and as my lap disappeared, I dropped it. Fuck, fuck, fuck! Furiously, I picked up the shoes with the socks, stuffed them in the wallet. I headed toward Corbin Street. The Popo would be entering from the other side, when one-way streets actually worked. We hadn't seen each other in a few years. Marie said he had been throwing hammers for a living out in Benicia. He got mixed up with a speed freak TL girl. Her name was Gina or Jeannie or some white girl name. Marie said she didn't understand, so it must have been really good sex. She played him constantly and eventually reported him to his parole officer. She told him he hit her. Typical. Marie remembered. He ended up with a 120-day violation. As I turned onto 30th Street, I remember I had received 1 prison letter from him in June or maybe July. He said he was trying the AA thing and went to class every day. He said it was going to be different this time. In his 2-pager, he had asked for my forgiveness. By the time I hit the Excelsior and turned onto Persia, Francisco's words seeped back in. Jesus, accept my apology. I've used your name countless times to avoid the cuffs. I knew I had warrants and you didn't. 2 years ago, I fucked your girl and gave her the drip. I'm sure you were applauding soon. I'm sure there are other things, but I can't remember right now. I can't wait to see you again, and hopefully we can grab some beers. Please forgive me. I entered the walkway where I had been dragged out so many times before. As I stood there, I took a deep breath and knocked. Who is it? She said. Marie. It's me, Jesus, your son. I thought, your only son. Wipe your feet, she yelled. I looked down at her doormat. It read, welcome back. Did you forget the booze? I rubbed my new Seekers back and forth and lifted it each sole. I said to myself, clean as they're gonna get. Thank you.
Many of you and Vincent, Antoinette, and Eve, and Shamrock, Greg, Miguel, Garrett, all right. My co-pilot of the evening, who has been brave, kind, and easy. You have been very easy. You have been very forgiving, even when I don't deserve it. Or my, I get.
He will never go back to Mobile after so many false starts, wind-blown fence fails, right turn at pothole, splayed bicycle, red state, red neck, red tie, revered girls at Hooters bar, worthy to wait tables wearing extra short shorts. His heart unfolds, 1 minute to hope for more. Scorn slipped cold, dejected, orders another beer. Siri, where to go now? Abortion's banned, elders make self-serving laws. more cause to leave Alabama. I happily sacrificed this world. People in traffic looking straight out, gray concrete sidewalk, cracked with green growth. Buildings with window boxes blooming. I gladly sacrificed illusions for truth, dissolved when seen past real. One forgiving heart in silence against pulsing red mind noise. Nothing to forgive, simply quilted colorful blanket thrown over ideas that humans are less than everything. Practice generosity of spirit, rippling earth rising like bread in warm breeze. Without burden, we do not judge. Instead, trust in tolerance, our reason to be. Wife of Canterbury, old witch turned fair, top of knoll, magic potions take hold. Return bounty flashed, quick mind seasoned. Single story footing made mountain climbing fools of us that stood with Lenore. Seaworthy lovers, not so much understood as recalled. One will, or else conjured. This lonely Sunday afternoon, unheard sirens seep in surrealism, where sight assumes one truth without her sister sense.
Thank you. That's what I mean, being generous with time. She is wonderful in that regard, as many of the people in the first half were very generous and kind. Shem, then Rob, Greg, Miguel, Garrett. Oh, it's Amy. Sorry.
Amy,
then Shem. Sorry about. Okay, I'm a record breaker tonight. It's Amy B, ladies and gentlemen. You're right about this. How are you doing? That's why I read Who Comes Next several times. Yeah, you're good. You're good to go. You are perfect.
Great. Thank you. Okay. This is called Opening Night. On the last night in my body, homeland turned someone else's home, pausing above the courtyard, shielded by wisteria's bloom, who will come after I am gone, heads below, forgetting we are just visitors here. Bodies made of water, little matter piercing atoms back together, draining lakes of dirty sand, creeping downstairs to the lobby, ushers never knowing what to do when we've outgrown a home where there is no place to feel or eat without worry of projecting bathroom mirrors, born fed lies, growing guilt to our gills. Just inside the threshold I pause. Will anyone remember? Past holding present's hand, water is a witness, opening, brightness on the other side. A pink rosary from Walgreens, now dismantled in a drawer, picked on the way to your Emeryville apartment, asking ancestors to help me shave your head. This was not taught in school. A dozen tiny ponytails, dead treasures saved from weaving a wig you'll never wear. The violent click of clippers, the hum of slicing hairs, no one cries. But just behind the lashes, it's clear there's no coming back from here. Thank you.
Thank you, Amy B. Now, Shem, for crying out loud. The Honorable Shem, and then after Shem, we have Rob. Shem, and then Rob, but now this is Shem.
All right, so this is, well,
And now it's your feature.
Next Monday, Bird and Beckett Books, 7 o'clock.
Yeah, see, there we go. A fine venue.
I checked the theme word at around 3:30 in the afternoon today, and kind of did a quick Rorschach ink blot of words against my screen. So this is going to be my first reading. Usually I try to read these things before I read them in front of people, but Here it goes. We'll call it rough cut for now, 'cause it's for obvious reasons. Cutthroat, scuttlebutt, throatily cuddle fishing for a compliment, falling off the backs of pickup truck, fisticuffs and gravel rash, inebriated bindle stiffs, rot gut, shot putt, 2 days of all-day hams in the can, spam sandwiches and chili con carne, a bottle of peppermint schnapps and a Seagram's every third day for an upchuck, rinse, repeat, re-up, revelation, sung to Captain Jack, Kid Puash.
Yeah.
Richard got that one. All right. The deepest cut always comes first. Handsome boy, modeling school, dancer on a dark star, park, carport kind of mood. Starboard, steamer, clam bake, slim waist, slum, slick thirst, slake, surly salesman, death ship of fools, Willie Loman, B. Traven, and a couple of vultures and ravens. Fool's paradise, lost a board game or two, slit a wrist for the mill grist of post-millennium meaninglessness. Give or take a restful pastoral season or 4. Matador, forest floor, fellowship, shop steward, new words, urgently splurging, guttural gushing, bloodlust, sawdust, soaking up florid soliloquies, ponderous and pandering, dirty laundry, hamper, hallmark, palliatives, predominantly pinkish, sinker, suckerfish, swirl through whirlpool, school of fish, stick finger lickers, a snickerdoodle or two, bugle, drool, pamphlet, cheerleaders, hey, far deep, marred sleep, charred cheek, barkeep, can I get a beer back with that throat cut? Thank you.
And that was without preparation, you understand. You didn't get that guy. What a brain. Rob? No, the other Rob. Rob, 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 Rob. Or backwards, that's bro.
It's steel.
Brow.
Or is it Rob? Is it Rob or is it steel?
Rob?
Or is it just nylon
Oh, I just got it.
Not steel.
Oh. It's like the old, never mind. There's an old joke about steel track, but I won't go into that. Did he have one of those?
Did who he?
Did Teddy have that? Or did you find?
He did not.
You found yours?
I did. I went home.
Oh, did you miss me?
I did.
Okay. All right. So this is Rob, ladies and gentlemen. If you haven't heard Rob, you'll hear Rob now because this is Rob. We call him Rob because, well, that's his name.
All right. I did this here last year, but it's been refined since then.
Are you kidding? No, you're Rob. See?
That page is way too big, man. Way
I know. A whole song on that little page.
Dad gummit.
It's called Kill the Blues. We can kill the sky and we can kill the sea. We can kill every single truffula tree. But the one thing we can't kill the blues. We can kill the rivers, we can kill the Everglades, we can kill our love and the memories that we made. But the one thing we can't kill the blues. We can kill the best and we can kill the worst. We can kill all the people who lived here first. But the one thing we can't kill the blues. We can kill the screams and we can kill the tears. We can numb ourselves with sports and garden beers. But we just can't kill the blues. We can kill the dodos and all the Hutus. We can kill the amphibians, Palestinians or Jews. But the one thing we can't kill the blues. Well, we can kill King and we can kill X. We can kill hope, we can kill sex, but the one thing we can't kill the blues. We can take our own lives so fast or slowly. We can murder the murmurs of our own morality. But the one thing we can't kill the blues. We can kill the hero or the sacrificial bad guy. We can kill the ERA. We can kill Firefly. But the one thing we can't kill the blues. We can kill reason and we can kill rhyme. We can kill and kill until there's nothing to kill but time. Still the one thing we can't kill the blues.
That's Rob. This is Greg Pond. If you like, I like to say about him, the voice. An acclaimed poet, I might add. Acclaimed.
Okay, but not tonight. Not tonight.
Is that your beeper?
Yeah.
Okay.
Tonight I will be reading two poems that I did not write, but I want to read them tonight. First, I'm reading from Overthrowing Capitalism, Volume 3, and this is entitled San Francisco City of Poets by Judith Ein Bernhardt. A fair-haired poet sat at her desk and wondered why. Our city is clanging and ringing with the noise of construction, but a lot of people don't have places to live. A bald-headed poet walked by a restaurant and thought, the streets are lined with fine dining establishments, but a lot of people don't have enough to eat. A poet in pigtails saw a bus carrying techies and said to herself, these workers travel in comfort to their high-paying jobs, but a lot of people don't have ways to earn money. A curly-headed poet called a friend to wish her well and told her, I'm glad you found a nice room in somebody's house, but a lot of people can't find ways to stay here. And they all wrote poems about what they saw and felt, but it's not enough now for the fair-haired poet to read her poem to the bald-headed poet, or the poet in pigtails to applaud the work of the curly-headed poet. Poets of San Francisco, you have to quit talking only to each other. Begin to think about what steps you can take to create change. Speak up in places other than the usual safe havens for poetry. Challenge everyone you know to work toward building community. Invest your own time and resources into things that will make a difference. Give of yourself, not only with words. Do something. Okay, and the other poem I'm going to cover this evening is a poem by Tony Robles.
Oh, yeah.
And this one is entitled SF Speaks. I ate the poets. I ate the seniors. I ate the blacks. I ate the browns, the ash and hash browns too. I ate the disabled. I ate the disheveled. I ate the homework that the dog supposedly ate. I ate the dog because it belonged to a homeless person. I ate the homeless. I ate independent recyclers. I ate the people that call it Frisco. I ate rent control. I ate mom and pop. I ate the murals. I ate the homeless vets. I ate the street musicians. I ate the street painters. I ate an iris and spit it out. I ate the Mission. I ate Hunter's Point. I ate Fillmore. I ate Street Sheet. My atrid is a clean, wide, white sheet covering a 7x7 space, moving in figure eights. Did I mention that I ate the blacks? They are 3% of my population. I will continue to eat them, will wash down their 3% with 2% milk. I ate the low-income people. I ate the low-wage workers. I ate them all. I ate the memory of the Trans-Bay Terminal. I love you. I ate you. I love you. I ate you. I love you more. I ate you.
Oh yeah, the voice. All right, Miguel, correct? Am I wrong? I'm not wrong. It is Miguel, and then Garrett and Ariella, just so that they know that I know, they know, you know, that they know, I know, you know. Hi, how are you? Yeah. This is Miguel, ladies and gentlemen. I got you.
I thought I was after Rob.
Oh.
But it was a cool segue.
Yeah, okay.
This is a quick one. The saddest thing I wrote. I miss my family, and I've forgotten exactly what that means. Read that again. Yeah. I miss my family, and I've forgotten exactly what that means. The theme is cutthroat. I wrote this a while back, and it goes perfectly, I think. She used to sell seashells by the seashore. Now she works the street of Mission as your friendly neighborhood whore. Knocking on a man's car window, probably high on blow. Numbing the pain, stress consumes her brain. 20 for head, 60 for sex. Only thing on her mind is the rent due next. Day to day, she's asking God why she's forsaken. Her pimps around the corner, all her revenues he's taking. As a girl, she did ballet. She was incredible. As an adult, she learned quick that life isn't flexible. The way she used to be, wondering where she went wrong. Daddy used to touch her after coming home from day so long. A rock in a hard place will contort your face like mace to the face, it'll leave you dazed. She's hoping it's just a phase, but fact is, it's not. She's one of millions out there. Life simply doesn't care. So each day she wraps her calloused heart with a blanket of bitterness to keep her warm in this cold world. The only solidarity she can find is with the other heathens lining the septic tank of society. Keeping with the theme cutthroat, an anecdote, youth dispensary. We came home from a night out in town dancing to Spanish music, and I wondered about orphanages. I found it peculiar that it's harder to obtain a used child as opposed to just having a brand new one. I suppose just like buying used cars, it's always more cost effective to get it straight from the seller versus going through the child dealership. I thought of how lucrative the used children economy is, but then again, legal human trafficking is still human trafficking. Oh, the things done under the sun for money. Anyway, after wondering about it, I resolved to just go to bed. And it's titled The Cycle. The papers he held flew up in the air, then the wind took them away immediately. A glorious, gory spectacle in the golden hour when the world looks its best. Clunk, then a dull thud, a sharp shriek, then silence. Simultaneously, inside a building, the expectant mother felt a warm trickle down her thigh, a contraction laced with panic, afterwards excitement. The sun set in the horizon as it rose anew. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Garrett. Let's see, we have Garrett, then Ariella, then David, Hal, JJ, Karen, and then the Sanderell. It's to the best of my knowledge. She was actually pointing to the name so I could, not make a mistake like I had done. This is the wonderful port from the East Bay. Hey, dry sense of humor sometimes.
And start with a new one. It's called Teetotal That Odyssey, based on some of what I've seen from a few poetry readings. 5 choices of wine to choose from. Barely one of juice and one for dear water. A common assumption is had by some that all crave warm and bubbly. Quite obviously, some never read what happens when one dares to assume. Some do believe in a choice. Some offer choice between red and white wine. Some offer choice between beer and wine. And one even dare to offer one between 80 or 100 proof whiskey. Multiple bottles of wine to choose from. Multiple cans of beer. Teetotalers get to drive up the wall, and they wonder why we bring our own drinks. My idea for a new kind of TV show. While I was sitting at home one day, I got an idea for a new type of TV show. The storyline went as follows. The media of such and such a country has been taken over by one cold-hearted big brother. It saturates the populace with unquestioning reverence towards authority, lodges them all under the guise of heartwarming family values.
Yep.
In this such and such a country, the schoolyard bully, for example, has become the virtuous hero of the dramas, the comedies, the ghost shows, and news, and even of all 3 branches of government. And the populace is completely enervated. They have learned to enjoy seeing humiliation, even their own, on a daily basis. Shouting matches are the tonic of the day. No warm and fuzzy what the school children hear. Whippings, beatings, slams on the walls, and tests, and more tests win the day here. Police ride roughshod over those who are different, be it by race, nationality, religion, or some other immutable, and are subject to medals, promotion, and veneration, especially if they overreact and kill or maim. Why the country's own caretakers, the schoolyard bully, come to extend the skills learned on the playground and extend it to the city, county, state, and nation, to the rest of the world, simply because they can. Now, of course, there must be a few opposed to all of this, but they shall not win. These you see are the new bad guys who are traitors of such and such a country, and bad guys never win. All have learned to love the perpetrator and hell with the victims. How's that for a new type of TV show? I sent the idea to the producers of the programming. Surely they can see the numbers multiplying in their heads. A few weeks passed before I heard from them. Finally, the response from them came in the form of an envelope, and I got the shock of my life as I read. Dear sir, we regret to inform you that we have rejected your proposal for a lack of originality. We suggest you develop an imagination or perhaps become a journalist, for your work, you see, as written as is nothing more than a simple diary of a very routine day. Not wanted, the Congressional Four. Not wanted, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, Ilhan Omar, Ayanna Pressley, Rashida Tlaib. Not wanted for the following offenses: progressive viewpoints, socialist tendencies, believing in equal opportunity, believing in speaking one's mind, refusing to stay in their place, refusing to get with the program, refusing to be happy doormats, being willing to upset the carts, to make waves, being women of color, being proud of being women, being proud of being a color, being proud of their identity, being anti-fascist, calling a spade and a chump, being, well, just not being white males in MAGA hats. If you see any of the above insurgents, immediately join them, for indeed all decent folks should want such as them on your side.
Gentlemen, and now, unless I miss my guess, we have Ariella.
Yeah, Ariella.
Ariella, who is new. She is new, ladies and gentlemen. I can't hear it! Can't hear it! Is that Ariella up there?
Well, thank you. Wow.
Thank
okay,
you.
Cool. Okay. This one's called Don't Tell Me How to Say My Name. He says to me, maybe you should say your name like this. He says, clients get confused when you say your name your way. They just don't get it. As he swivels in his chair, chest puffed with arrogance, his words masked as wisdom, anger flowed up and down my spine. My accent is that of millions of immigrants crossing to safety, holding on to each other, for they brought nothing else but each other and the sweat on their backs. It's the callous hands gripping the shovel to move mountains, to stride on new land, safe land. Don't tell me how to say my name. The way I say my name is not a trend. The way I say my name is not a commodity to be sold, used, or changed just because you just don't get it. Sitting in the back of my dad's truck, barely old enough to formulate proper sentences, desperately trying to memorize where I'm from, although I lived there my entire life. How does a child convince the man in firm green? I'm not yours. I am not yours to mold, so don't tell me how to say my name, for the way I say my name stands on the shoulders of those who rose before me, of those who dance like the world is on fire but know tomorrow, for those buried for the cause but not forgotten. You want to know what my name is? My name is 3 words, and no, I will not change how I say it. My name is Ariella Pinedo Vanegas. This next one's called A is For. An arsenal of affectionate apricots dance with the idea of free falling onto the pile of dead leaves that have collected below. Lucky the loser who doesn't make it, but instead to the arms of a hungry, overzealous child. Electricity he leaves behind as he flies by, eclectic elephants in hand. Jarring is the words of his father, don't run. Arrogance inflates his little head and then leaves only dust. Neat pieces of noise filled with nonsense. Daring and unafraid, he darts from room to room, rises to the occasion of the radical ridiculousness, obliges to the ostentatious rules of the daily nap as he attacks the very notion that he ever needs one in the first place, and his eyes begin to close. This last one's called Scales and Coffee Grounds. Don't raise your eyebrows like you're telling me what to do. Your words masked as suggestions. You have always loved telling me what to do. Control issues? Or lack thereof, perhaps. You elevate the room the minute you set foot through the door, and now it's askew. Through all the fog of people I will never see again, you made your way to me. I avoided looking at you at all. So you made yourself small to barely meet me at eye level. You placed my necklace in front of me, broken like the words you overthrew. I chew the anxiety off my lower lip. Little spurts of attention is what I get from you. You know how the espresso machine is done squeezing the life of the grounded coffee beans just to give you less than half a cup of that damn delicious mind-altering caffeine? Well, it feels a little like that. Attacked by the overwhelming smell of chlorine, it invades my nostrils. I can't help but to question the reality of it all, like how a python straggles his spray. You're tightly wound in your ways. You let your eyes do the work your words can't, and still I get the bare minimum. But here I'll be, letting them tell me what I want to hear.
Thank you so much. Ariela. All right. May I say something really quickly while you're getting set up?
I beg your pardon?
Can I say something very quickly while you're getting set up?
Hit it.
All right. Well, while he's getting set up, there's a fairly large-scale event happening on, let's see, June 22nd, 1 to 3 p.m. at the Crit Auditorium, the San Francisco Main Library. That's the Civil Liberties United, Diverse Voices, sort of a book party anthology for everybody that's in that and anybody else who wants to show up. I did make a few copies of the information, but I'm going to be putting it out in the email, and if you don't know anything, you can get this. If you do get that, you'll get this.
And their cards.
Oh, they're in their cards. Yes, they have cards. Did they get passed around?
A lot of them did. There's still some spare here.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, and I have another card here. So, perfect timing. David, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Thank you.
I thought you were David.
So that's
Cutthroat.
You're Cutthroat.
You're next.
Thank you.
Yeah. I just mentioned it's an anthology by edited by Shizue Siegel. About
Yes.
100 people involved, 300 pages. Write a book. It's going to be a room full of people. It's
Yes.
a lot of fun.
Yes. So there you go. Thank you for that. I was going to go on, but then, I forget everything.
Cutthroat.
Cutthroat.
A thrasher shark and a trout play high-stakes poker while in the vestibule an orca with a garrote waits for the loser. Cutthroat.
Garrote.
Poetry waits to be spoken aloud, not read silently. Capiche? That was a haiku. Today's stuff. How often it occurs, secular chorus singing in a Christian milieu finds its rent raised as a means of expulsion. Spirit of the group ignored, material amount extolled, opportunity embraced, or dissolution in grace. Comparing devotions, how absurd, like declaring that silence is better than word. We each have a mission that's thicker than spit. The key to ablution, what is it?
What?
Approach to worship maybe lie deeper when the name is left blank.
Hey, I just got that.
First, a couple of tone poems. One, a prayer for Kay Armin, who's a bipolar bass player, less than half my age, who's returning to his native Iran. This is for a safe journey there and back. Then some gilded splinters, as I just learned that Dr. John McRemenack has passed from this mortal plane.
Oh, yeah. Thank you, David. Hal, the mighty Hal. And if you have not heard Hal, you will now. Hal Robbins, thank you for that. He's the other person that'll say his name in a Scottish accent, which makes him sick because he's not Scottish at all.
That's a difficult accent to say properly. Toward the theme, most poets do not write about cutthroat issues and events. They tend to be benign dreamers and philosophers. Homer, on the other hand, does get into the hideous details of death on the battlefield. And then there's Edward Gorey.
Yeah.
They had come for the feud in the Stretto, when a dark bearded man from the ghetto by her long tresses grabbed and repeatedly stabbed her to death with a rusty stiletto. And then there's also this Irish murder ballad that many people know, but it's written by Tom Lehrer, called Rickety Tickety Tin.
Oh, yes!
About a maid I'll sing you a song. Sing rickety tickety tin. About a maid I'll sing you a song. She didn't have her family long. Not only did she do them wrong, she did every one of them in. She did every one of them in. Her mother she could never stand. Sing rickety tickety tin. Her mother she could never stand, and so a cyanide soup she planned. Her mother died with a spoon in her hand, and her face in a hideous grin. A grin, her face in a hideous grin. One day, while in a fit of pique, sing rickety tickety tin. One day, while in a fit of pique, she drowned her father in the creek. The water tasted bad for a week, and they had to make do with gin. With gin, they had to make do with gin. She set her sister's hair on fire, sing rickety tickety tin. She set her sister's hair on fire, and as the smoke and flames rose higher, she danced around the funeral pyre, playing a violin. Olin, playing a violin. One day when she had nothing to do, sing rickety tickety tin. One day when she had nothing to do, she chopped her baby brother in two and served him up in an Irish stew and invited the neighbors in. The men invited the neighbors in. She weighted her brother down with stones, sing rickety tickety tin. She weighted her brother down with stones and sent him off to Davy Jones, and all they ever found were the bones and occasional pieces of skin, occasional pieces of skin. And when, at last, the police came by, sing rickety tickety tin, and when at last the police came by, her pretty tricks she would not deny, for to do so she would have had to lie. And lying, she knew, was a sin, and lying, she knew, was a sin. Me sorry tale I won't prolong, sing rickety tickety tin. Me sorry tale I won't prolong, and if you've not enjoyed me song, you've yourself to blame if it's too long. You should never have let me begin. You should never have let me begin. Thank you.
JJ, then Karen and the Sanderell.
Oh, that's caught me unawares.
Caught you unaware? Did it hurt?
Not quite.
Okay, I'll let go then.
What a pleasure being here tonight.
All right.
I think your mood is contagious. Oh, here we are. And tonight my selection will be the Lioness of Verse. He was a sailor man over a bottle of vodka. Having lost his cool, told this story. I will leave with you. It was she who done it, Maya Angelou, queen of poets, with hips wide as 2 continents, have seduced me. She approached me on Facebook. The pearls in her eyes and the ambrosia in her voice transformed me. She pumped up my mind with drive-in promises of popcorn and ice cream. Luring me to YouTube, she drove me to confess my love for her and all the spicy details of our budding affair. Massaging my mind again and again with Here Comes the Bride love songs. She gave me hope any red-blooded American male would feel looking to the sorries and buffets lying ahead. Over amber waves, filled with joy, I flew to meet the icon of womanhood, feeling like a teenager on his first date, and it was she who done it. Ding-donging and scolding church bells greeting me at the beach seemed out of place. Neither did the message that followed fool me. Stop playing games, the voice said. Never ever will you kiss Maya's lips, and never will Maya give any support to your silly and uninvited attention. I had been on a wild goose chase all along, and it was Maya Angelou who done it. Becoming celibate for the rest of my life was my first thought. I would join the priesthood and be done with it. Then from nowhere, a burst of energy touched my spine. That had to be my ego, refusing to live in an undiscovered limbo all alone without my queen. I would not retreat without some kind of victory. Acting with bravado this time, I shouted out, "What does Maya do when she's alone?" "I direct Port-bound Palace, fool," the voice said. "But by what contrivance do you pump up my swagger to imagine pulling a galley such as yours? Those gigantic hips, filling me with desire, setting me on fire. For what benefits could possibly remain?" Then to my surprise, a gold-stamped lumber contract laid at my feet. That had to be a gift from my love queen, hiding somewhere in the wings. The Lioness of Verse had roared, if only in my dream. Thank you.
And we'll take care of after the Sanderell closes us out, we'll take care of these mini prizes designed, like I like to say, with your mind in mind. That's not my line. Don't think it's my line. I love it, but it's not mine. Firesign Theater, in case you want to know.
Yes. Make sure you fill out the attributions.
Yeah, I thank you. Because
yeah, really.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I just barely made it, and I kind of grabbed something, but I was thinking rain because we had heat, and I think we're getting something else now. Yeah, I know, and I always, and I've written, but this isn't. I've always thought of when it's foggy like this, it's kind of like walking in. It's kind of misty. It's like walking in clouds. It's breathing. Yeah. The birth of rain. The air is full of longing for rain, heavy like a pregnant woman ready to spill her waters and give birth, holding back in humid pause, yearning for relief, waiting for a sign. The moon hangs still, her aura painting the night in lace. Drooping velvet hides the stars. Steamy hot breath moisten the crisp leaves, waiting for a wind to carry them high in the fetid night. High above the moon, high to break through velvet and coax the heavy womb to yield its torrents and welcome its child of night. Thank you. It's been such a lovely evening of poetry. I've just been overwhelmed. And this is another rainy kind of thing. A dry earth waits. The clouds are heavy but do not weep. A giant's cloak fills the sky, etched with sunset jewels. The stars and planets still are hid in velvet crevices, while spirits contemplate the changes of the tides. A breeze speaks solemnly of warm winds winding through the valley. The hot breath of dragons burns through forests, leaving flat land for storms to wash them clean of life. Feathered whispers cling to shrubs while chatters subside silently. Small animals shudder as the giants of the jungle wander aimlessly through scorched paths seeking water that slips over the rim of the earth into Hestia's apron, wrung at last in sacred drops to offer meager baptism over a parched and empty thought. And of course, climate change. Yeah, little climate change, and we saw its different extreme recently.
Climate change.
Yeah. We saw that all these drowning waters, so it goes, the pendulum
All I have
swings.
to say about climate change is I lived in San Francisco for many, many years, and 3 years ago, on December 21st, in my backyard in the Richmond, I was harvesting tomatoes.
Oh yeah.
Tomatoes.
Yeah.
Winter.
Yeah.
December 21st. What's up with that? I'm ready. It was a nice season.
I hear you.
All right, and now the Sanderell's going to close us out, and then we'll take care of these pleases, and he'll stop talking like this because I'm tired of it already. He's very tired, but he says we'll stop with that.
Yeah, would you?
I know.
Would you? The man is coming up.
Go.
All right. Well, I'll do the short. Well, never mind. First of all, just because you steal something doesn't mean it's yours. So, well, I know. So just remember, you still live in Indian country. And particularly in the Indian country, you're living on a lonely land. So let's not forget. All right, no longer believe. No longer believe in words Usan's citizens express. Say you worry about your children's future. Say you care about the environment. Don't believe you. You propagate glories of clean electric cars that gets energy from coal, fossil fuels, uranium plants, left to pollute native and poor people's lands as if that's where it stays. Say you don't support war. Say you don't believe in the violence as one hears you hit your lover, spouse, child. Say you believe in peace, love, understanding as you limit free speech when not agreed with. Say you, USA, say what you mean, do what you mean, but you never knew how to talk the talk, walk the walk. You're citizens of USA. No one believes you. Wimpy wants a new burger. This is an old one.
Yeah.
Wimpy, Popeye's friend, said he would pay you on the second Tuesday of next week for a hamburger today. Wimpy, now older, changes his order. Older too. He will now gladly pay you the second Tuesday of next week for a vegan burger today. All right, this is for Vincent.
Oh.
There comes a time. There comes a time when minds act like a conveyor belt for ideas, words, art, action. One needs to be ready so as not to waste. Latin beats ripple across mine, writes words with rhythm accenting as miles place feminine beauty in tones of the sacred. There comes a time when joy must enter lives or die from internal sadness that gains hold on psyche. Louis says beautiful. Everyone smiles, sways, dances. Chance responds, questions answered. There comes a time when all our garbage we throw at each other end. Look for that rare thing in them, joy. Killing each other for what the other has, eternal wars, fires, need putting out, smothered. Repeat daily, stop before containment lost. That's what humans do. Pull call back before losing their humanity. Thank you, Mr. Birdman.
Birdman. Woo! Person writer. Who's the writer? I'm still here. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you. If you've enjoyed yourself half as much as I have, you had too much fun. I wanted to tell you about this book, though. This book, which one of you is don't? Okay, Eileen Malone has donated this book, but it's not. It has her stuff in it, but you'll recognize some of these names. Well, there's Eileen Malone, of course. Then there's Alice Elizabeth Rogoff. People know that name.
Yes.
There's Sally Ann Fry. People know that name. Tressa Berman, that's going to be new to me, and Cesar Love, whom I know. So there's other people in this book, and it's a great book. I mean, if those people are in it, then it's like a slammer. Then there's poetry from the years before the change. Native peoples. It's a couple. It's a twofer, so it's really nice. This is a great story. I've actually read it several times to small children who love it greatly. And House of Broken Angels. And then Indian Country, Peter, how do you say it?
Peter Matthews.
Matthews.
He's a Pulitzer Prize winning snow leopard.
All right.
He also writes Crazy Horse.
And then writing material, should you decide that. Now this is also Pablo Rosales. This is a set of his recordings. He does some Beatle tunes. It's very interesting. Very Karen Millan on this one here, just in case you can. And then Sound Savers, a really great collection. And of course, if you like this place, there's this, which is there for you people who are of a mind. And then there's Doing the Last Word, Co-Pilot, Keynote, things like that. If you're going to come back to the non-prized. So if you signed your name, you put your name next to a number. These cards have been shuffled obsessively and compulsively by myself.